Hello, everybody, and I want to go over the details of the schedule page and what the schedule page means. So this page and all the pages that it links to are week-by-week descriptions of what you should be doing in computer science. So I want to first go over some of the language that I use on each of these pages by showing you an example of a page and what that entails. So if you look here, for example, at a week 3 page, one of the things you will see in each week is the overall summary of the week. What I mean by the overall summary is that it's a quick snapshot of what that week is. So the overall summary is just something you can read in sort of one or two sentences and get a gist of what's going on that week. The next thing you'll see on each week is the learning experiences, which is usually a list of things there with links to all the specific things of that week's learning experiences. So what the learning experiences are is what you should be looking at that week. So in other words, if you like to read the website, you can read through the content. If you like to watch the YouTube video, you watch the content. But this is an absorption of the material. This is like if you're in class listening to essentially a lecture on new material. This will activate your visual and your auditory learning and drawing in this new material. The next thing you'll see on the page is the week's work goals. Okay, this will also be a list, not necessarily in order, but a list of things to work on that week. So the way I describe the work goals is those are actions that you should be doing. So this is something that you should be actually physically doing, like working on a programming problem, completing an assignment, doing something like that. So this activates kinesthetic or like sort of action-based learning. This also includes examples you should be working on. And then the final section is just a specific section about assessments. So those are things that you need to work on that will count for marks. Things you will hand in, things that you get handed back, things that apply to your grade. Okay? So again, this will also be in a list format on each week. And as I describe right here, this outlines what is worth marks for that week. Okay? Next thing on the schedule page is just links to 15 weeks of course content. The course generally goes a little over 15 weeks, usually about 18 to 19 weeks. But I wanted to break it down into 15 weeks because those last few weeks are all basically working on the final project. So that's the general gist of it. And the last thing I want to cover on this page is some of the specific words I use in each week describing some of those things. If you see me use the word start or starting, that would mean that in that week, it's a good idea that you should probably be beginning that piece of content. So if it says you should be starting looping problem 4, that means this is a good idea this week to get going on that assignment. If you're not quite there yet, don't stress it too much, but it does give you an idea about where you should be that week. Next thing up would be continue or continuing. By this, I mean you've probably already started something, right? So it should say, you should be continuing advanced classes part 4, which means you probably started it the week before or the week before that, and this work is ongoing through that week. If you haven't yet started this content and you see the word continuing, this should put a little more pressure on you to think, okay, I better get started now because it looks like that piece of content has already been started in the week before. And then finally, if you see the word complete, this would be an indication from me that this is around the time you should be finishing that piece of work, okay? So if you see like complete the classes unit, then that's an indicator that's about where you should be. If you're not quite there yet, don't stress too much, but it gives you a general ballpark about where you should be in the schedule at this point in time. Also on this page, you can also find an interactive Google schedule, which is changeable, and that basically describes schedule portion of this website.